Hello peeps, here I am again. Okay, let's talk about the other video that Keith has put out recently about the Strategic Defence Review. Yeah, I had to laugh when I looked at it. I'm like Keith, I didn't go into the full details, I just brushed over it. And it's probably the only time when I've got to agree whereby they're talking about putting money into defence, yeah, rather than cutting us. I personally went through Oxford for Change and everything like that. You know, we were there in the Cold War in Germany, defending against the Russians, and you know, next thing we know, we're cutting back. We're always cutting back. We're on this, that, and the other. I lost some very good men due to Oxford for Change. I must admit, under Oxford for Change, the only phase whereby vehicle electricians were actually put on the list was on phase 4. And I've got to admit, at the time, they were offering me £60,000, yeah, to leave the army. Now, couldn't just turn that down, could you? No. So I duly filled in the application. The next thing I knew, I've got a intercom message from my officer commanding, Sergeant Clark, get in my office. So I tipped up, slung a salute up. How can I help you, sir? What's this, Sergeant Clark? I looked at this and looks like an application for redundancy for me, sir. He said, I know exactly what it is. What I want to know is, what's it doing with your bloody name on it? And as I explained to him, at the time I had my now ex-wife and my 2 children, yeah, and I said, you know, 63 grand for getting that, sir. I'd be a fool to turn it down. So applied for it, didn't get it. Yeah, I remember I was in the line ready to go and see the colonel. Now, I'd already known from other people that if you walked into the colonel's office and he has a red folder in his hand, you got redundancy. If you walked in and he got an envelope, you hadn't. And I'll never forget the colonel said to me, Sergeant Clark, he said, I've got a tax return for you. I went, no, it's not, boss. I said, oh no, that's to tell me that I haven't been picked for redundancy under Options for Change. And he said to me, I must admit, Sergeant Clark, he said, I fought hard, yeah, to ensure that you didn't get it, because I don't want to lose people like yourself. So I said, that's fair enough, Colonel. Slung up a salute and marched out. While I was waiting in the RHQ waiting area, another corporal from the artillery went in, yeah, and I still see it to this day. He marched in, because you marched in through one door and came out the other. And when the other door opened, this bombardier from the artillery cartwheeled out the CO's office because he'd been given redundancy. But under the Strategic Defence Review, they're on about long range weapons and that. Now, I was attached to 39 Heavy Regiment Royal Artillery, and we were the first unit in the British Army to get the MLRS. Now, I also know that 2 other regiments of the artillery received MLRS a few years after we did, yeah, when we got back from the Gulf War. And it's my understanding that after a while they were disbanded, and the MLRS, the launchers, went into storage. Now I believe one unit, I believe it was 101 Artillery up in Newcastle, were actually issued with the launchers eventually. But for a good number of years, those MLRS launchers were stored somewhere. So we went from having 3 regiments of long range, yeah, to just the 1, 39. And here we are now, we're talking, hold on a minute, we now need to procure more MLRS. Well, hold on. Why did we pull back on it before? Being on a war footing, Britain should have been on a war footing from before my time, and we were. It was called the Cold War. 1982, we went on to a war footing when the guys went down to the Falklands to defend an overseas territory that was ours. The Gulf War, we were ready, we were on a war footing. We were poorly on a war footing, because if you know anything about the Gulf War, you'll know that we didn't have the equipment to go out into the desert, especially the Challenger tanks and everything like that. We actually had to steal equipment from other units to be able to deploy a division to the first Gulf War. And over the years, yeah, we've had the Iraq War, we've had Afghanistan. Yeah. We've never really been properly prepared for war, which is wrong. We should be prepared to defend this nation to the very last man, person, whatever you want to call them. Yeah. Now, I know that there are people out there that don't want to fight for their country, and that's their right. Yeah. With the people that have fallen before mine and Keith's time, yeah, in the First and Second World Wars, they fought to give people the freedom of speech and the freedom to do what they're able to do. But let me tell you now, I'm 65 in a couple of months' time. If I get the call up to bear arms to defend my country, yeah, I will be there. Whether it be as Home Guard or whatever, yeah, because I want that freedom to continue for my grandchildren. Yeah, my lovely Lillian Mackenzie and my grandson Tony Lee. Even though I've not seen Tony Lee in probably 19 years. Yeah, but I will bear arms, yeah, to be able to defend this country against any aggressor. Now I know what you're going to say, oh, you're just an old fart and obviously you won't be able to hack it. Well, how many 65-year-olds do you know that go out tabbing on a regular basis? One of the main reasons I keep my fitness up is just in case. 2003, when the Iraq War kicked off, I actually volunteered to go back into the armed services, into the army, yeah, to deploy to Iraq, because I felt that we didn't do the job that we should have done in the first Gulf War. And I know a lot of guys that deployed to the first Gulf War feel exactly the same. Yeah, at the age of 43, I was told that I was too old. I was probably fitter than most of the 18-year-olds, yeah, that were actually in the forces at the time. And yet I was told I was too old. Here I am at 65. Again, I think you'll find I'm probably fitter than some of the 18-year-olds still. Yeah, because I like to keep my fitness and everything up as best I can. I survived a cancer. I survived a stroke. Yeah, and I will keep going until eventually my body turns around and says, Nobs, start packing in. Yeah. But for me to defend my country and to defend the freedom that the previous generation gave to me and to everyone else that is living today, yeah, I will do exactly that. I will bear arms. The First World War, there were people lying about their age, yeah, so that they could get up and go and fight for their country. Would it happen today? Very much doubt it. There might be a few. Yeah. Maybe I should lie about my age, say I'm 18 again. I don't know. But the fact that people have no allegiance to their country makes me wonder, why did I serve for 23 years? Yeah. I know why I served. One is I wanted to serve. Two, I actually want to serve the people around me. I do a lot of serving at the moment, what with lollipop duties. I've now become the Poppy Appeal organiser for my village. So I'm quite happy to put my name down for something. Yeah, but like Keith was saying, the latest generation have seen what happened to the veterans that came back from successive conflicts. Yeah, the government's just washed us aside. Yeah, the fact that he's on about supporting those around us. What happened to the Armed Forces Covenant? Yeah, it was talked about a lot. Never actually happened, did it? No. Yeah, why have we got guys that went out to Iraq and Afghanistan living on the streets? Makes you wonder that. So, like I say, it's a nice gentle bimble today. Like I say, it should only be a 5 miler. I only went down to the reservoir and back. So once again, I'm going to sign off now, and I'm going to say, if you are new to my channel and you think, hold on, I might listen to what he's saying, yeah, please consider subscribing. Not telling you to do it, we don't do that, me and Keith. We just ask you to consider it. It helps the channels to grow. One thing I will say to my mate Keith, Let's Tab 59, yeah, both of us need to be in defence, mate, because I'm pretty sure we do a better job than the people that are in there at the moment. Yeah, procurement has always been a problem. Wastage of money on systems that were known to be able to fail. Yeah, we'd sort that out in a heartbeat, wouldn't we? So, everyone, please take care of yourselves, stay safe. Whilst you've got this marvellous weather, get yourself outside. Yeah, get some fresh air in your lungs, because one thing it does, it helps with your mental health as well as your physical health. Yeah, so take some time, get away from the office, get out there, yeah, and take care of yourselves. So to you all, stay safe, take care, and as me and Keith always say, let's tab.